Good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for being here. I'd like to call to order the school board meeting of May 9th. At least I got the month right this meeting. That's good. Thank you all again so much for being here. Want to invite Mr. Schuler from Sanford Middle School. Thank you. Mr. Schuler is going to introduce tonight for us a student who will be leading us in the invocation and pledge.
Good evening, school board, Dr. Griffin. I am pleased to recognize one of my students tonight, Victoria Desch. When you think about students coming to magnet schools, you want them to come to the school and immerse themselves in all that the magnet has to offer. And Victoria, when she came to Sanford Middle, she definitely did that. She has tried, I think, almost every elective I have to offer, and really has explored what career options are out there. And I think she has found one that kind of suits her, has ignited a passion. And we are very happy that she has found that at Sanford Middle. And beyond that, she's one of those kids that you just love to have around. She sees something. She's very involved with what goes on at the school. I know she's had a couple of meetings with me this year where her and her friend have set up an appointment with my secretary and sat down and really presented points on different changes that could be made at the school for a positive nature. And we've definitely taken those under consideration. And she really has done a fine job with that. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Victoria Desch.
Good evening, school board members and superintendent. My name is Victoria Desch, and I'm an 8th grader at Sanford Middle School. So, they say middle school is one of the most important periods of your life, for it is when you start to shape yourself, develop your study habits, and most importantly, you begin to think about the future. It's also that period where students are discovering who they are. For instance, through the Choices program, I was able to attend Sanford Middle because ever since I was little, I had the goal to be a pediatrician, but I quickly realized that it was not my passion. Sanford Middle offers such a diverse and in-depth program that has exposed me to advancement in areas I wasn't aware of. Let's talk about that for a moment. Mr. Griffith, my aeronautics teacher, ignites my passion for learning, not just about flying, but the dynamics, engineering, and history behind aviation. But honestly, each teacher in our STEM program offers the same excitement and advancement for learning, including all the administrative advisors. But Sanford is not just about STEM. It gives students the opportunity to do fun electives, which takes the edge off from all the testing, homework, and stress. In conclusion, because Sanford Middle, I have readjusted my goals towards a career in aeronautics. I am very proud to be a Sanford warrior and a student in Seminole County, which offers an exceeding advancement in academics. Thank you. Now, if you would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much, Victoria. Appreciate you. I'd like the record to reflect that all school board members are in attendance this evening except for Mr. Bauer. We also have Dr. Griffin and Ms. Beeman with us. Tonight we have joining us, we'd like to recognize Katie Burris from the Seminole County Council PTA. Thank you so much, Katie, for all you do for our schools. We truly appreciate it. And Katie Murphy as well here from Seminole County Council PTA. Thank you both. Where are you? Dr. Griffin, do you have any agenda modifications?
Yes, I do, Madam Chair. The addendum for good cause is marked on an electronic agenda by a green flag named addendum item. Also, I am pulling from the agenda item 4AT, the evaluation committee recommendation of the top 3 ranked firms for interpreter services. And I'm pulling this because we have received a formal written protest from Sign Talk LLC.
Thank you so much. Board members, do you have any modifications, anything that you'd like to pull this evening? Mrs. Almond?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Mrs. Sanchez?
No, ma'am.
Dr. Calderon?
No, ma'am.
All right, thank you. The only thing that I have for clarifying questions is 4AR, which is an RFP that we can talk about whether or not one of you would like to serve. And with that, have a motion for the agenda outline?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, Dr. Griffin, we have some people to honor.
Time for recognitions. Let's head down to the floor.
Well, hello, my name is Stan Palmer. I work in the Department of Teaching and Learning here in the ESC building. I am the STEM specialist for the district. I am pleased to be here today to recognize students and teachers on behalf of the STEM Alliance. The STEM Alliance is a Central Florida organization committed to collaboration between the business community, including partners such as Lockheed Martin, Disney, Legoland, UCF, the Orlando Science Center, and more, with our public school systems. It is their belief that unified efforts are essential to capitalizing on the business community's needs for continuous improvement in STEM education if we are to achieve the goal of a well-prepared workforce. Seminole County Public Schools has benefited from our partnership with the STEM Alliance through the support of STEM programs at Millwee, South Seminole, Tuscaloosa, Rock Lake, and Lawton Childs Middle Schools. The STEM Alliance and the Central Florida School Boards Coalition also designed the STEM Alliance Student Scholars Program. It is designed to serve as an incentive for students to be more successful in STEM activities and to take more advanced STEM courses throughout their middle and high school years. With us tonight to help recognize our students and teachers is Jeff Pridmore, and I saw him here earlier. There he is. You want to come on up? Jeff is the board chair of the STEM Alliance of Central Florida, and he's going to help recognize our students as they come up with the board here. But he is currently supporting UCF's College of Engineering and Computer Science in its efforts to grow research and development. Previously, he served as an engineer vice president at Lockheed Martin, and throughout his career led a number of research and development organizations across the corporation. Thank you, Jeff. Okay, so we will first recognize the STEM Alliance Teacher Award winners. These teachers were selected because of their long-term and continued dedication to innovative and inspirational instruction in STEM fields. Our first teacher is from Millennium Middle School, an algebra and pre-algebra teacher, Michelle O. Come on down. Our next, Our next teacher nominee is a biology teacher from Oviedo High School, Sherry Brinkman. We will now recognize the STEM Alliance Student Award winners. These students represent outstanding and most improved through continued hard work and dedication to learning in STEM courses. Many of these students are already well on their way toward preparation for successful STEM careers. From Indian Trails, 7th grade, Levi Strodel. Come on down. Also in 7th grade, from Jackson Heights Middle School, Alexander Sobik. In 7th grade, from Teague Middle School, Ryan Antelek. Also from Teague Middle School in 7th grade, Mia Mendoza Paunero. From Indian Trails in 8th grade, Hannah Housand. Also from Indian Trails in 8th grade, Nathan Feinberg. In 8th grade from Jackson Heights Middle School, Devin Ravani. In 8th grade from Milwee Middle School, Catherine Walsh. Also from Milwee Middle School, 8th grade, Daliana Stokes. An 8th grader from Sanford Middle School, Lydia Chung. Eighth grade from Sanford Middle School, Divij Lankalapali. An 8th grader from Seminole County Virtual School, Hannah Neely. A 9th grader from Crooms Academy of Information Technology, Austin Hardy. From Haggerty High School, 9th grade, Neil Mighty. Ninth grade from Lake Howell High School, Renita Dubé. Tenth grader from Lyman High School, Jacob York. Also from Lyman High School, 10th grade, Jared Diaz. From Oviedo High School, Dennis Anthony. Okay, I believe one of our nominees that showed up just a little bit late, Divij Lankalapali. Come on down. All right. Okay, from 10th grade, from the Seminole County Virtual School, David Sazama. '11th grade, from Lake Mary High School, Amalia Klim. '12th grade, from Haggerty High School, Stephen Chapman. '12th grade, from Lake Brantley High School, Ben Daniel. '12th grade, also from Lake Brantley High School, Bryce Chandler. '12th grade, from Lake Mary High School, Sydney Chase. '12th grade, from Lyman High School, Andy Brenner. '12th grade, from Seminole High School, Jimmy Kinn. And last but not least, 12th grade, from Oviedo High School, Mani Jahani.
Dr. Griffin and board members, it gives me great pleasure this evening to introduce a friend to the school board. Seminole County Commissioner Delary is here today, along with a representative from Metro Plan Orlando, Marianne Horn, who is a community outreach specialist, and they're going to share some great information regarding our transportation department.
Thank you, Joe. I'm here tonight representing Metro Plan Orlando. I am the chair of that organization. Metro Plan Orlando is an organization that represents all of Seminole County, all of Orange, and all of Osceola County. It's for Central Florida. It's a transportation planning board. What we do as a transportation board is we plan the roads for the future for Central Florida. Just like the school board plans the roads for the kids' future, we do that for the roads. Well, with that, we have a charge from the federal government that we actually have to monitor the air quality of Central Florida. We have monitoring stations up and down I-4 and around several major roads. We monitor them on a day-to-day basis. And we take those levels to try to figure out are we in containment or non-containment about air quality in Central Florida. So with that, we try to recognize organizations that are trying to help reduce smog, pollution, improving the air quality of Central Florida. So one of the things we did is with the school board actually applied for an award that we have. It's called the Clean Air Award. It's throughout all of Central Florida. The Clean Air Award recognizes an organization that has taken significant steps to try to reduce pollution, improving air quality, and so that way the young people of the future actually have something to look forward to. It actually provides better air quality for people that are sick. So what the Seminole County School Board did over the last 3 years, they've been buying alternate fuel vehicles for their buses, compressed natural gas. They've been doing that for the past 3 years. Over the past 3 years, they reduced their carbon emission by 6.4 million pounds of carbon. This school board reduced. The reason why that's so important is it increases the quality of life. There's significant health benefits. People that have asthma will find it a lot easier to breathe. You'll actually see less smog in the air in the future if more companies and more organizations like this school board takes those initiatives. Besides air quality, compressed natural gas on vehicles saves money when it talks about fuel alternatives. It also saves money when it comes to the maintenance and operations of their vehicles. So this school board is actually taking initiatives to saving tax dollars. Not only are they trying to improve air quality, they're trying to save tax dollars for their population. Because of that, and the significance that they've done over the last 3 years, Metroplan Orlando would like to award this school board with the Clean Air Award. That's what we have here tonight. And so I'd like to present this to not just the school board, but the individuals that actually took the initiative to do this, and there's a couple of individuals that did that. I want to congratulate you and the school board. Julie, would you like to say a couple of words? Someone needs to.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you for my team for coming out. This is not my award. This is our award as a district and as a group. Y'all come on down and be recognized.
Excuse me, can we get a picture of the whole school board with the team?
Board members and Dr. Griffin, we would like to recognize the 5th grade students from Evans Elementary who won first place in their Odyssey of the Mind state competition. These students will be advancing to the 2017 World Finals at Michigan State University on May 24th through the 27th. This team also won the Rancho Fusca Creativity Award, which is presented to one team that exhibits exceptional creativity. At this time, I'm going to ask the students from Evans Elementary to please come forward. Spencer Mallett. Owen Badenschreiner. Nish Patel. Jordan Donnellan. Samantha Rose. And Alexandra McGraw. We also have their coaches, Michael Mallett and Amani Badenschreiner. Would you please stand, coaches, if you are here? We also have Stacy Hardy, assistant principal here. Mrs. Hardy, if you will wave. And parents of the students, would you please stand so we can recognize you?
Thought you were still taking pictures. There you go. Oops. My apologies. I thought there was some activity out here. I apologize. Okay. Chair Lockhart, school board members, Dr. Griffin. I'm proud to introduce some Seminole County Public School students here who've been recognized for their outstanding achievement in the arts and recognition in the National PTA Reflections Program. Just for a brief background, for those of you who may be less familiar, the recognitions honor their imagination, creativity, and interpretation of a theme, a unique theme every year. This theme was, what is your story? This was the theme for 2016-2017. The National Reflections Program has been around since 1969 and encourages students of all ages and abilities to explore and participate in the arts. Through the program and participating schools across Seminole County, students from preschool to grade 12, including special artists, are encouraged to create and submit original works of art in dance choreography, film production, literature, music composition, photography, and visual arts. Students are recognized each year for their artistic ingenuity in bringing this year's theme to life in a personal way. These students advanced from their local PTAs to Seminole County Council PTA for evaluation, and then on to Florida PTA. So we're evaluated with students from across the state. They received awards of excellence from Florida PTA and were recognized at a State Reflections Awards ceremony on April 22nd at Largo High School. They received ribbons, medals, certificates, and a check for $50 from Florida PTA. And I want to go ahead and introduce those students to you now. I have a couple of ribbons for those students who weren't able to attend that event. So these 6 students are, in literature, Divya Tuma from Wilson Elementary. Zoe Jackson from Haggerty High School. And in music composition, Justin Glenner from Heathroy Elementary. In photography, Adrienne Stone from Rainbow Elementary. In visual arts, Lauren Rollins from Lake Mary High School. And also in visual arts, Nadia Bloom from Oviedo High School. Oh, wait, there's more. One Award of Excellence winner from each division then in each arts category then advances to national level for review, along with all those excellence winners from other states. We are proud to have 3 National PTA Award winners from Seminole County as well. So once again, I'm going to call up in literature, Divya Tuma with her submission called Different. In visual arts, Nadia Bloom with her submission Doll Making. And Justin Glenner with his submission Heavy Metal. These winning students will be recognized at an awards event on Saturday, June 24th at the National PTA Convention at the Paris Hotel in Las Vegas if they choose to attend, complete with red carpet activities and a dinner. The Awards of Excellence winners receive $200 Young Artist Scholarship and a silver medal and certificate from National PTA. The Awards of Merit winner, Justin Glenner, will receive a bronze medal and a certificate. The 2017 winning works will be previewed and displayed digitally at the National PTA Convention. And for the 3 of you, I have a check from Seminole County Council PTA for you 3 as well. A check for $100 each. Justin, Nadia, and Divya.
Good evening, Dr. Griffin and board members. Tonight we have some special high school accolades to give out. Tonight we are going to honor the Lyman Diamonds Winter Guard. The Lyman Diamonds Winter Guard traveled to Dayton, Ohio for the first week of April to compete against the world's greatest high school Winter Guard teams. The Lyman team has been attending the Winter Guard International competition for 10 years and has had great record of success. After winning the Scholastic A Division in 2014, Lyman was placed in the Scholastic Open Division. Over the past couple of years, the team has made great progress. This year was a breakthrough year for the team. Lyman High School's Winter Guard placed second this year and received the silver medal in the Scholastic Open Division. Their top 2 placement this year automatically promotes the team into the highest division of Scholastic competition. Next year, linemen will compete amongst the top 25 scholastic groups in the world in the World Class Division. There can't be anything higher than a World Class Division. The group rehearses about 2 to 3 days a week after school and has had an undefeated season from January to April of this year, leading up to the World Guard International. At the state level, they were also the Florida State Color Guard Circuit Scholastic Open Division champions this year. Let's meet the girls. Ladies, come on up. They are Paola Alvarado, Marie Berg, Micah Bermudez, Cheyenne Bryant, Elizabeth Chambers, Jacqueline Sheffer, Lolly Creekmore, Camille Fabre, Kenya Figueroa, Nairobi Gonzalez, Karen Cates Bodalas, Ileana Martinez, Antalicia McLeod, Brittany Pitzer, Lorena Rodriguez, Alyssa Swigert, Kayla Swigert, Julia Tanner, and Nikita Wheel, along with their coaches. Come on up. Katya Mailspin, Christopher Cook, Kayla Weston, and Marcus Sanders, and also here tonight, the principal of Lyman High School, Mr. Mike Rice.
Good evening, Dr. Griffin and board members. Among all this celebration, I'm sure you're looking at me wondering, why is he here? Well, tonight it is for that. Annually, we recognize beginning teachers in an award that we call the Rookie Teacher of the Year. And we recognize one beginning teacher from each of our levels who have, among many other things, have demonstrated a superior ability to foster excellence in education and contribute to the continued improvement of student learning in the school environment, displays expertise in subject taught and the ability to effectively use materials relating to the subject, demonstrates a strong commitment to creating a climate of caring and respect conducive to effective teaching and learning, dedicated to his or her community through active participation in service-oriented projects, volunteer work, etc., and demonstrates poise, eloquence, and the ability to withstand a very taxing schedule. This year's submissions for Rookie Teacher of the Year were outstanding, and the selection committee had a very challenging task of choosing these winners, for which I'm about to introduce. Dr. Griffin and Chairman Lockhart, you have on the table behind you some items that we are proud to present to each of our winners. We have a plaque commemorating this award, a variety of gifts provided by community involvement. Thank you, Ms. Mills. $50 worth of gift cards and a power supply charger for cell phones and other smart devices provided by the foundation. Thank you, Davia Moss. A Fitbit Flex 2 provided by Employee Benefits. Thank you, Lauren Haddock. And a $100 check provided by the Seminole Association of School Administrators. Thank you, SASA President, Wilson Elementary School Principal Kelly Mitchell. So now let's meet our winners. Our elementary school Rookie Teacher of the Year is Perrine Dalla, 4th grade math and science. Perrine teaches at Hamilton School of Engineering and Technology. Perrine is a graduate of the University of Central Florida and teaches 4th grade math and science. Perrine loves her work and says that working at Hamilton is a blessing in itself. She goes on to say that the students I work with often don't have advocates for them, and every day I take it upon myself to be their advocate. Perrine states that one thing I'm proud of accomplishing this year is integrating math and science with other disciplines. As part of our school's magnet evaluation, I created 4-station rotation in science that integrated math and language arts. Her principal, Mike Pfeiffer, gushes about Perrine, stating that a simple visit to Ms. Dalla's classroom reveals smiling, energetic students immersed in math and science. Through a departmentalized approach, instruction is tailored to her instructional strengths, which enable her to take her students to unprecedented success. Simply put, her student CTA math and science scores are significantly higher than not only other Title I schools, but also higher than many non-Title I schools. She is simply amazing. Accompanying Perrine this evening are Principal Mike Pfeiffer, and over along the wall there, her 4th grade team. Congratulations, Perrine, on being Seminole County Public Schools Elementary School Rookie Teacher of the Year. Our middle school Rookie Teacher of the Year is Jannard Semillian. Jannard is from Millennium Middle School and is a graduate of the University of Central Florida and teaches 6th grade English language arts. Mr. Semillian piloted the Men of Honor program, volunteers for school advisory councils, and assists with updating the school's website. In describing his teaching, Mr. Semillian writes, "My personal style of teaching includes research-based teaching strategies. However, I have learned that I must first take a personal interest in my students' lives in order to reach them academically. Every student wants to feel that their teachers care more about them than just their test scores. Mr. Semillian makes it a priority to establish a positive relationship with not only his students, but with his students' parents as well. His principal, Dr. Maggie Gunderson, is extremely impressed with Mr. Semillian's personal and professional initiative as he constantly looks to improve his teaching. During his planning time, he visits model classrooms, and he likewise volunteered to attend Saturday morning writing boost session camps to not only support students in improving writing skills, but to personally learn more effective strategies for teaching writing himself. Mr. Semillian has indeed been a wonderful addition to Millennium Middle School." Accompanying Jannard this evening are his brother David, his sister-in-law Marilyn, cousin Aria, and his mentor teacher, Ryan Martin. And Dr. Gunderson couldn't be here today, but Assistant Principal Trina Grennan is here. Congratulations, Jannard, on being Seminole County Public Schools Middle School Teacher of the Year. Rookie Teacher of the Year. Our high school Rookie Teacher of the Year is Lynn Moran from Lake Brantley High School. Lynn Moran is a graduate of Mississippi State University and teaches interior design at Lake Brantley High School. She also is a pole vault coach and freshman class sponsor. Ms. Moran says that I first became interested in teaching after working with a young man with cancerous tumor on his optic nerve. His condition caused him to lose vision in both eyes. I wanted to make sure he was able to be successful and perform to his utmost potential. I was able to help him develop strategies to be successful despite his adversity, and this learning experience for both of us helped to establish my personal philosophy of teaching. Principal Dr. Trent Daniel was most enthusiastic in her praise of Ms. Moran by writing, "Lynn stands out because of her attention to detail and her meticulous and hard work. Everything she does exemplifies excellence." Dr. Daniel goes on to say that Lynn was hired to teach interior design. She has an art degree, and prior to teaching, she was a wedding coordinator. Lynn took her skills of art and organization and transformed our interior design program into a thriving career preparatory program. Lynn Moran is truly an outstanding teacher. Accompanying Lynn this evening is Dr. Trent Daniel, her principal, Assistant Principal Micah Cardy, her son Luke, and her grandmother Barbara. Congratulations, Lynn, on being Seminole County Public High School's Rookie Teacher of the Year.
Good evening. This evening, I am proud to announce the new principal for Endeavor Middle High is Mr. Paul Harshman. Mr. Harshman is a graduate of the University of South Florida. He began his career at Roosevelt in 1997 here in Seminole County. In 2003, he earned a master's degree in educational leadership and served a year as a dean at Teague and a year as an assistant principal at Millway Middle School. He then went and transitioned to assistant principal over Hopper and Endeavor in 2005 and stayed in that capacity until 2010. Then he became primarily assigned to Hopper. Mr. Harshman has dedicated most of his professional life serving students with disabilities, and that's why it gives me great pleasure to introduce him as the principal of Endeavor. With Mr. Harshman is his wife, Laura, and his two sons, J.R. and Jason. Jason.
Dr. Weisland, whenever you're ready.
Light.
Dr. Griffin and board members, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to update you on another ePathways initiative that is well underway. And we're presenting tonight at a board member request to provide an overview of our middle school iSeries initiative. And I'm pleased tonight to be joined by the creative visionary for this project, Nicolina Wilson, who's a teacher on assignment in ePathways. Additionally, Michelle Orozco, who is one of our teachers at South Seminole Middle, is here, and she is joined tonight by two of her students, Faith Lambert and Jose Cruz, and you'll be hearing from them momentarily. The iSeries project is all about career planning and ensuring that all of our students have an education pathway. And we strongly believe that career planning needs to be a very deliberate process. And over the course of the last 2 years, we've worked to ensure that our middle school students have a framework from which to create solid education and career plans in order to both select appropriate courses for high school, explore college interests, and look at post-secondary options. And we've done that through these two courses. This is the second year of implementation. We have 2 semester courses now operating at every middle school, iJourney and iConnect. And in addition to the career planning element in those courses, we're also offering students the opportunity to demonstrate their skills on 3 nationally recognized digital tool certificates. And so that is the current framework for the iSeries courses. Nicolina is going to walk you through the iJourney and iConnect courses and give you a glimpse of the student experience before we hear from teachers and students. And I just want to point out 2 things as you see this. First, all of the content in these courses was developed by Seminole County teachers. We linked to external resources that we've vetted, but the actual courses that you're going to see were developed by our teachers both during the summer and during the school year. I'm also very proud of the fact that Nicolina takes the time each semester to send every student enrolled in these courses an online survey that they complete, and it's their opportunity to give us feedback on the content, and we take that very specific feedback that they provide seriously, and then we reconvene a writing team each summer to tweak the materials based on the feedback provided by the students. So we're very proud of the fact that the course content will continue to change. And then additionally, board members, as you look at the content, you think about what was created, and then also the devices that were necessary in order to implement this course at all 12 middle schools. This was an investment from the millage funding that you have provided for innovation projects, and we'll share some return on investment data at the end of the presentation. But right now, Nicolina is going to take us through iJourney and iConnect.
Thank you, Jason. So we began when we started the curriculum writing for this process with this essential question. We wanted to see, what does every 8th grader need to know to be successful in high school in whatever course or pathway that they are going to embark upon, as well as into their future college or career. And we do, as we continue to adapt this curriculum to make it more and more relevant for students, that changes day to day, we continue to go back to this question: is this something that is going to be one of those really dramatic, impactful things to the student's education, and does this fit this goal? And if not, then we don't make the change, and we make sure that we go back to this driving question with any kind of dramatic changes we make. That being said, here's a little snapshot of the entire iSeries. As Jason said, they have the opportunity to earn 3 different digital tool certifications. The curriculum was completely developed by us, by your teachers, by our Seminole County teachers, administrators, community member students, etc. Career planning is that centerpiece to ePathways, really getting those students to understand their strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities earlier on, rather than figuring it out halfway through their high school career and not being able to really complete a program and get enveloped in that pathway. And the curriculum is blended, which means that it's, more than half of it is delivered digitally, so it's half face-to-face, half digital, and on any given day it can be either one. The students could be completely online working self-paced, or they could be working with a group completely face-to-face, depending on whatever that content is best delivered to the student. So that was all decision made by our teachers, and continually upgraded and adapted to the needs of our students. iJourney specifically is the course where students participate in their career plan. The basics of iJourney is that they learn digital citizenship, living online, experience all the future-ready skills integrated into this course. They go through a series of quests where they participate in their iJourney or their self-journey in order to figure out who am I, what do I want to do, and how do I want to make the next 6 years or 5 years, depending on whether they take this course in 6th or 7th grade of my education, really impactful. And how can I make that meaningful diploma that we always talk about at the end of this process. So this is their first step into it, and we really thought that middle school time was really critical to getting that piece in there for these students. So that's a little overview of iJourney. If we jump in as if you were a student, this is what you would see on the front page of your course every day. And if you scroll down, you would get a course trailer that gets you really excited about the content that you have coming next, about you click into your navigation guide, and these are your buttons that you see, and you see, you plan for your journey and you prepare for your journey, and the teachers make sure that kids are ready for taking off into that self-exploration journey, that they've completed their living online and digital readiness per se, in order to self-reflect and take those quests where they get their itinerary and they go through all the different pieces. So it's really thematic, it's really engaging, it's really irresistible curriculum that also really has this hopefully meaningful self-exploration for the students that gets them prepared for life beyond 8th grade. There's just a little snapshot of what it looks like once you get into one of the modules. This is the preparing module, where they do some self-reflection, they do some communication, some prep, both face-to-face and online through some simulations, and then they get their technology ready and they prep their social media and make sure all their account settings are ready to go and ready to be in the real world. And iJourney is now offered in 6th, 7th, or 8th grade based on student need. It is the required course, so therefore we also offer it through Seminole County Virtual School. It is completely virtualized, and that was finished in December of this school year, 6 months ahead of plan. So we got that off the ground and have a few students piloting that this school year, and are going to continue to offer that opportunity as we move forward. So all of our students have that opportunity to participate in iJourney. iConnect specifically is more of that next level technology and communication course. Both iJourney and iConnect can be taken, iJourney, iConnect, or vice versa. So they were built either way. Most of our students do iJourney before iConnect. It is the certification, it is the course that offers one certification. iConnect offers two. So the two certifications that they offer are key applications and computing fundamentals, and these are basically on computer hardware and computer software. So do they have all the basics, right? Are the computer software basics, computer hardware basics in Word, PowerPoint, Excel, to go on to move on to courses such as digital information technology, or be successful in their everyday English class with using these, very well-known, very career-oriented programs. This is also completely blended. It meets the online and blended requirement because it is delivered digitally, and all the content, or over 50% of the content is delivered digitally, and it is a high school half credit that's available in the middle schools. So it's a high school course, completely blended, and it offers those two certifications. So diving into this one, there are two modules that are all about technology and communication, and the technology portion of it is, like I said, the hardware and software, and that's mostly in Module 1 here, where they do that technology overview, and then they learn about communication through 3 different styles. They do visual communication through PowerPoint, textual communication through Word, and communicating through numbers and graphs and pictorial representations in Excel. And in this part, they get to choose their specific topic. They can choose to decide to do all of their projects on how awesome they are, and what middle schooler doesn't want to talk about how awesome they are. But it basically is building their personal brand and figuring out who they are and their strengths and weaknesses, and they can do all their projects based on that. Or they can be the CEO of their own business, or they can pick their talent or interest in order to do that, and all their projects are based on this one thing. And then Module 2 takes it to the next level. So they take those different communication styles they learned in Module 1 and communicate with different audiences, whether it be their peers, their professionals, or strangers, and how do you navigate that. So, and then they tie it all together with a tie to that Computer Science 2020 initiative that we've talked to you about, and they do some computer programming and online communication at the end of this course with whatever topic that they chose. So with that, I'd like to bring it to one of our wonderful iConnect teachers at South Seminole Middle School, Michelle Orozco.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here tonight. I was really excited to come and speak. It's Teacher Appreciation Day nationally, so I thought what a great day to be here and see you all. I've had the privilege of being a curriculum writer, a professional development trainer, and a teacher in the iSeries, so I'm starting to know them quite well. I almost sleep them and think them and breathe them, and they're fantastic. There's something I feel very honored to present to you because in 27 years of teaching, I've seen a lot of curriculum. And what really impacts me with curriculum is what it does for kids. If the curriculum is not great, but if they're really meaningful to kids' lives, that's when I go, now we're talking. And it's been fantastic to see the future readiness of these programs and the innovation. The kids get these great computer hardware, software background. They get certificates. They have the opportunity to really. But what's made the most difference to me as a teacher is watching them individually grow and learning about themselves, their journey. What do they want to really do? Where's their passion? And how can they find out what they do best? And they go through all these series of courses and quests, but not alone. They go through it with their peers. And they do collaboration, they debate, they encourage each other, they inspire each other, and through it all, they kind of begin to really value each other and their perspectives. And it's okay that I think a little differently than you, and my talents are not the same as yours, but together, we make a difference in the world. And I've seen the soft skills really come out in a way that other curriculums I've never seen done. And it's fantastic. Kids have choices. They get to decide on what they want to do, which way they want to go with learning. And it's just been really something I feel very proud to be involved in. And my students, I've just seen them grow and accomplish through it. They take pictures of them, send them to their friends, and they just want to share what they've learned with the world. And I think that's what these courses really do bring. All the future-ready skills to these kids, solid background of computer science, and makes them truly ready for high school and the rest of their days. So I'm really happy tonight to have a couple students with me. Faith Lambert and Jose Cruz are here. I'm going to let them share their thoughts without any further ado, and I really appreciate them as students, and I really appreciate you as board members.
I'm Faith. I'm an 8th grader at South Seminole Middle School. I took iJourneys last year in 7th grade, where I learned how to be safe on the internet, the do's and don'ts, and how to be a respectful citizen in digital society, because it's very important. And I also learned about my digital footprint and how everything you ever searched or looked up is out there somewhere, and it never disappears. And I took iConnect this past semester, where I learned the functions and hardware of computers, and I also took both tests, the certification test. I also learned how to use creative presentation tools that I might possibly use in the future in high school or in career options. When I first started, I automatically thought, oh, it's required, it's not going to be that interesting. And once we got into it, it was way different than any class that I'd ever taken. And I realized that once I get into high school and once I get into college, I'm definitely going to need these tools, this information that I learned about this stuff. And I think that it's pretty interesting that this is in school, whereas this might be stuff that other people had to learn outside of school on their own. And we have teachers like Miss Orozco to help guide us.
Okay, Jose Cruz, wonderful student, very interesting.
Hi, well, I connect this semester, and I learned a lot about it because right now when I go to high school, I'm gonna go to Crooms Academy. And it's all advanced technology, and I might need to know how to make an Excel, a PowerPoint, a Word, and it could help me in the future with like a job interview or like teaching people, or like being a director, like you need Word like to write a script and all that. So like iConnect and iJourneys will help me like succeed and like succeed in the world and like at home and everywhere. I used to like do these things with my brothers. Like I'll make PowerPoints of like how to get good grades or like how to get a job and PowerPoints. And we used to like write a lot of stories. And we also have fun. And I learned about Excel and like what should I do in there. And it could like help me like track things in Excel, and I never knew that. And then my friend told me and like today in school, like in Crooms, that we're gonna be using a lot of PowerPoints and like Excel. And I'm like, good thing I know because I have Miss Orozco now. Because if I didn't, that would have been terrible. I would have been failing already.
Thanks, Jose. Thank you so much.
Have you mastered pivot tables? Because you could, I don't know about y'all, but yeah.
Just one quick add-on for this school year before we wrap up, that we added the iSpark digital tool certification in this school year. So this is the first year of implementation of this. We've seen some fantastic success with this being integrated into business keyboarding, which is pretty much the precursor to iJourney and iConnect. So we've seen our 6th graders mostly in business keyboarding take this part of the iSpark and earn some digital tool certifications, which is a combination of all 3 of the digital tool certifications at a more basic level. So this is in a mystery case file detective theme where the students go through these different cases to learn the different computer skills they need to be successful on the test. But it is really exciting for our students.
And that course also entirely developed by our faculty members. So from two great student perspectives up to very high-level return on investment, board members, year one, which really was our pilot year last year, we had just over 2,000 digital tool certificates earned, and that was, again, I believe with about 8 middle schools participating. This year with 12 middle schools participating, we're about 3,950 certificates earned through the end of April, so that doesn't count anything that goes on this month. And so, again, from an academic perspective, we're very pleased with what we've seen. And as you're aware, the Florida Department of Education incentivizes the earning of these certificates through bonus FTE dollars. And you see, again, what we're estimated to bring in. And so in the first 2 years together, the financial return on investment is just about equivalent to the total investment into the program. So we're at a break-even point at 2 years in. So we're very pleased with what our teachers and students have been able to do with the content that our curriculum teams put together. So thank you for the opportunity to give you an update on this initiative.
Thank you.
Board members, do you have any questions? Dr. Calderon.
First, I have to say, thank you for teaching in Seminole County Public Schools, and students, rock stars. We're so very, very proud of you. You did a great job tonight. Thanks for contributing and giving us better input so we can make better decisions. To that end, what percentage of our middle school students are taking these courses? And you said this year we just added the 6th grade component. I mean, is it mandatory that they take just one of them or all 3 of them? And when do you envision close to 100% participation?
Each school is on a little bit of a different implementation journey depending on, what other programs they have and how they're making it work. All middle schools have been doing iJourney, and the goal is 100% participation because that course satisfies the middle school career planning requirement that's in statute. And that's why we've added the virtual version to accommodate students that are in a magnet program on 2 different elective tracks, and they've got to work this in. So the ultimate goal on iJourney is 100%. We would love for iConnect to get to 100% as well. Some schools have prioritized it as an important elective, and so they're scheduling a lot of students in. Others are still, getting to that point. The middle school keyboarding class was a very popular course offered by Florida Virtual School, and the feedback from the schools is that the students were finishing in less than 16 weeks. And so we saw that as an opportunity to come in and create our own version. And so we've actually reduced our course fees to Florida Virtual. That course is typically about $60 a student, and we're delivering it for about $12 a student. So there's been pretty substantial savings there. And then we added in the digital tool certificate, which is a nice validation of skills for students and, again, creates some dollars for the middle schools as well.
That's offered right now at 6 middle schools, and then next year they plan to offer it at another 3 or 4 with the inclusion of the digital tool certification and that business keyboarding in that 6th grade slot.
And then our next step in this project is that next year we'll develop what we've tentatively called iChallenge, which will be the computer science project-based learning elective, and that will also include a digital tool certificate, probably in problem solving and logic. That's where we're headed next.
Just, it was wonderful. How many modules do you have that are incorporated in the program?
So the whole course, both of them are semester-long courses. The modules in iConnect, which is the high school half credit, there are 2 modules, one on the technology and the hardware and software, and one on the communication. In iJourney, there are 6 modules, and they start from the planning and prepping all the way through to reflecting and building that digital e-portfolio.
Fabulous. Thank you. It's so exciting to see all the communication skills going into it, and the fact that you're developing lifelong skills for entrepreneurship and along the course of different things and avenues with textual learning or pictorial, anything. So it's for any type of learner, which is what I love about it. Thank you for everything you're doing with it.
Has the first cohort entered high school yet?
We had some students that participated in iConnect last year that are in high school now, so yes.
Because, I know a lot of these things, I'm sitting here thinking, gosh, we've got a ton of kids sitting in high school that missed this, unfortunately. Is there ever a thought or an idea of maybe somehow paring this down into a semester elective at the high school level for any students that might have missed it in middle school?
That's a great question. On iJourney, we actually do have a pared down version that was developed by the team last year after the semester-long course was built out. And that was for a few select students who were coming in like second semester of 8th grade from another district or another state, and they hadn't met the requirement. So we actually have a non-credit it's about a 16-hour version of the career planning process that includes the career assessments and inventories, and we actually have that open on Canvas where anyone can access it.
I guess the trick is getting them to know it's there.
Right. But that's something we can take a look at.
Gosh. Very cool. Thank you all so very much. Any other questions, thoughts?
I just add an add-on to your question. McElhaney, I really appreciate you doing the evaluation at the conclusion of the class, but you bring up a good point. We had a work session this afternoon that we were talking about, let's ask the question. It would almost be interesting to go out and question them after they've been in high school for a year or two. Retrospectively, now that you're there, what else could we have added to the course that would have made you more successful as a high school student? Because sometimes we just do it every day and don't think anything of it. But we had business professionals speak to us today, and their entire presentation was on PowerPoint. And they calculated the numbers for us to make millions of dollars worth of decisions in Excel. So it truly is a lifelong skill, not just at Crooms Academy, but it's kind of exciting that maybe if we did some sort of a reflection later, there might be some other pieces we could add in the future.
Thank you. That's a great suggestion.
Thank you all so much for being here
Great
tonight.
job.
We love having our teachers here, and we love having our students. It is so much fun to hear directly from you all and the impact that these courses are having. So thank you for sharing. We appreciate it.
Appreciate it too.
Thank you.
Board members, I pulled 4AR just for, you know what? Can I have a motion for the consent agenda? How about that?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right, so AR is the RFP for yearbooks and photography services. Would any of you like to serve on this RFP as a rep for the board?
I'm happy to serve.
Okay.
If they really want someone to serve.
Well, sometimes I don't know if they just feel like they have to ask or if they really want us. But since it's here, I'm guessing they really want us. I don't know. Is this Mr. Godrow? No. Mr. Kelly? Okay. Cheryl, would you like to? I hate to put you on the spot, but it's the age-old question. Do they really want a board member to serve, or do they just feel like they have to ask us to be nice?
Well, since the board is taking the policy language out of the exemption from the solicitation process, we will have to competitively solicit, and as a part of your board policy, we have to request permission to issue the RFP.
Right. But would you like a board member to serve on the committee?
Absolutely. I think it would be a good idea.
Okay. So, Mrs. Almond, if you are willing to serve, do you have a timeline for this?
Probably within the next 30 days. We're developing the RFP right now.
Okay. All right. Sounds like a plan. Mrs. Almond said sure.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Dr. Griffin, student discipline.
My recommendation is that the School Board of Seminole County approve the student disciplinary recommendations from April 17th and April 24th, 2017.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes unanimously. All right. We have this evening for public comment joining us Mr. Richard German, and I would ask that you make your way toward the front. And Dr. Calderon, if you have the public input statement ready.
Sure. The public input segment of the meeting is provided to allow the public to present specific matters to the school board for its consideration and referral to the superintendent and staff for inquiry and action, or address specific items on the agenda. The public input segment of the meeting is not open to presentation of campaign issues by political candidates or others, student disciplinary actions, pending employee disciplinary matters, or pending litigation. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes, and we welcome you here this evening and appreciate you taking the time to address your school board.
Ready?
Whenever you want to begin, Mrs. Moramis will start your 3-minute clock.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Richard German. I'm a residential real estate developer. I develop residential subdivisions. I want to talk to you tonight about something I think you should address sooner rather than later, and that is school impact fees. I handed you a schedule that shows the 4 residential categories, impact fees currently being charged, or at least as of February, in each of the adjoining counties except Volusia, which I don't consider competition, so to speak, residentially to us. And as you can see, Seminole is 43% to over 50% lower than every other county surrounding us. Yet, I'm proud to say, and under your leadership, we have the best school district, certainly in this area and not the state. So as you can see, we are really, I think, way undercharging for the demand of residential units, people that want to live in this county, the impact fees, and I think you should address them very quickly. If you look at last year, there were 3,000 residential permits pulled in Seminole County. If you raised your impact fees just 3,000 across the board, you would still be below every other county, or the other 3 counties, still be below them on all 4 residential categories, but you would have raised $9 million. This year, the permits pulled through March, residential, are totaled 600. Same formula, $1.8 million. So just think it's something that you should address and take a very close look at.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
We appreciate you being here. Honestly, when I read your sheet that said you were here to talk about impact fees, I wasn't quite sure that it was going to be that particular message. So I appreciate you being here very much. All right. Board members, I don't believe we have any unfinished business. Superintendent's report?
Thank you, Madam Chair. There are a few items in my report. The first is another look at the student progression plan before it comes before you as an action item. And just a reminder, the legislative updates will come to us, and that will be all that is added. So the changes that you, the past 2 meetings that you've seen are all the internal changes, everything taking place in Seminole County. So I think it's all clearly marked. All the feedback that you gave last meeting is in there. Any suggestions, just let us know. Also, we put in as an information item, before it comes to you as an action item, are the policy waiver requests for 17-18. And this is part of the school improvement plan process. And there are 3 specific waivers, one from Oviedo High School, one from Lake Mary, and one from Haggerty. Before we go further, I think we have some questions about one of the waivers.
Board members, do you have any questions? Dr. Calderon?
I do. I appreciate the physics being added within Haggerty, but I do have a question, and I do see the principal at Lake Mary High School here, Mr. Kotkin. Maybe if you could come up and you could help us. The RAMS period, I know we have been fighting tirelessly with Tallahassee to try to get more instruction time for our students and teachers. And we've been fighting it from the testing side. This seems to be that there's time that students and teachers could perhaps use in another way. I know we did a very quick survey, but that was only representative of a third of the teachers. And it was very close call of, yes, keep it, no, get rid of it. But I thought some of the comments were very telling of, this is time I need to have parent conferences. This is, time to work one-on-one with a student, and that's very valuable. But then there were also some other comments that weren't as favorable. So from a leadership perspective, or maybe if you could add any other subjective information to help us make the determination of whether this is the most educationally sound use of the time.
Sure, absolutely. I have notes on my phone, so forgive me if I'm looking, know what I'm doing. When we started this in 2011, 2012, the idea, to be honest with you, was to set time aside, most importantly for those students we felt coming out of our most recent accreditation who didn't have the means to stay after school. With a large portion of our students coming from the north through choices, we just felt like it was better served if we could somehow find time, Dr. Calderon, throughout the day for those students to get the help they needed, tutoring, making up tests, making up quizzes. They missed school, they couldn't stay after, whatever the case might have been. We felt like at that time, coming out of accreditation, this was a suggestion made to us. So we did just that. The idea behind it has evolved throughout the course of the years, and that the students who would be in it for 4 total years, so the student is required to be in it their freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year. In other words, if you move in the middle of your sophomore year, the beginning of your sophomore year, it will not count for a half credit. So you must be there all 4 years with the idea of, again, test, quizzes, whatever they felt like they needed to make up. As a matter of fact, when we just went through our most recent accreditation that we finished in February, 2 of the 7-member panels said that they would take what we've done, and they noted us as highly commendable and a powerful practice that they would like to see brought to other schools. It's never going to be perfect in my mind. There's things that we could do to make it better, such as I would love to add a club and organizational component. As a matter of fact, the Spanish Honor Society is the only club that meets, and they're a bigger organization than the National Honor Society at my school because they make that a part of what they do on Wednesdays. So I think, Dr. Calderon, if we could find a way to layer other things beyond just making up tests, quizzes, getting additional help. Our Peer Connectors is a large group on my campus that I think you're somewhat familiar with personally, and every student at my school, every freshman has a mentor. And another powerful practice that the accreditation committee noted was how our students are getting that help, unlike maybe any other school that they've seen before. So there's practices that are in place. Could they be better? Most certainly. I would hope that we'd be reflective enough to see that. I don't know if I answered your question completely.
No, and I guess if you drill down into the data, there were so many comments of to make up tests and quizzes, make up tests and quizzes, and it just amazes me how many children don't miss their tests and quizzes. Is this an anomaly at Lake Mary High School that you have 75% of your students missing tests and quizzes? For it to be documented that many times and to be used as the main purpose for that time, it concerns me of, do we have a truancy problem? Do we have, if it was best practice for everyone, I guess, Dr. Griffin, I could even ask you, is this something that is so commendable that we should really institute district-wide rather than just at Lake Mary High School? Or is there some data at Lake Mary that proves that this needs to occur there but not other schools? I don't know.
And I'll just speak quickly and we'll get back to Mr. Cocken. I think the time can be used as valuable time. There are many practices across the country. Remember, we had effective domain activities for a long time. If the time was being used maybe for Naviance, for Khan Academy, for some more structure, I think we'd all be a little bit more at ease. But I think reading through those comments, it sounds like a study hall. And that's what I think the concern is that it comes down to, we're asking the board's permission to give credit to students. We cannot give credit for students in study hall, and that's what we're trying to discern.
I think that the first semester for us, we directed a lot. I did with our faculty and staff a True Colors, where all of my faculty and staff were trained with True Colors. Then we brought it to the students. We've done some discipline internally, some data analysis with their EOCs, FSAs, SAT. To be quite frank, the second semester we let a lot of that go. And just like anything, some teachers really adhere to it. And depending upon which teacher you have, fourth period where we've built that into their class, some teachers have just said, well, all right, we're going to use it as a study hall. And some teachers are really saying, all right, who needs to go out and make up their tests, their quizzes? Your teacher has gotten in touch with me, Mike, don't forget you need to go take advantage of this. I see that you're behind, you're struggling with a concept here, and then a PLC of Algebra 1 teachers will get together and they will use it. So some really adhere, Dr. Calderon, to the idea a lot better than some of the others. And I think in talking to some of my teachers, they said, Mike, why didn't you send that email out to us? And one said, we've taken so many surveys, I didn't want to take another one, but if I had known a little bit more about it, I would have taken it, because I think 36% of the teachers, as you said, about a third, actually took time to do that, and I'm sorry that it was so few.
No, there's no apologies. I'm just trying to better understand it, because I want to support our hardworking teachers. We're here for the academics of our students. We try to make every decision that we make based on what's best for students, and I guess I just needed to drill down based on comments or things that we've heard from the past. Is it really necessary, and are we using it at the best time? I even know, Dr. Wyndham, we've been talking to some middle schoolers, and I question they're wanting to take a period to have, for what most schools use as a club, they're making it into a class. And so I just want to make sure that every class offering we have is best for the students and best for the teachers. And
I have to say, I need to advocate for my ESE case managers. They're really taking advantage of the time as well to meet with their students above and beyond what they're required to, and really personalizing what they're doing with their students as well.
And I guess, and I'm sorry, if other board members have a question, I don't want to jump in front of you. Go ahead.
Madam Chair, just one question. I know that in the middle schools, they do a lot of this where they have children are able to communicate with each other or have classroom meetings and things like that. So they have an agenda that they stick with. And it sounds like maybe it's gotten off track a little bit with the testing. I would like to see something in place that would have a time for our students to be able to communicate with their teachers or to be able to communicate with their peers and share information, or have a key to the key characters lessons on bullying or honesty, or an agenda, something that might be something that they need to discuss, or one-on-one. So I think there needs to be some time that we have set aside for our students to be able to do this, because quite honestly, what we're getting from every area and every school is that our students are exhausted from testing, and all we do is teach to a test, and test after test after test. I'm not saying ours do it here, but that's the general consensus throughout the world right now. And so we need to have some time that our kids can decompress. And I think that's important, but we need to have some sort of set schedule or agenda put in place.
So going back to your original rationale for the need for the time period, one of the things that you said was that we have kids that are being choiced in, and therefore they can't stay after school. Can you help me understand why students who would be choiced in can't stay after school?
Certainly not all students, but a lot of our students who are coming in via the bus, they don't have the ability to stay after nearly as much as maybe some
But
who are
our
driving
choiced
in.
in students don't take the bus. We don't provide transportation for choiced in students. They all provide their own transportation. It would be students who are zoned for Lake Mary High School who get transportation.
Okay, my fault.
Well, I was trying to understand, and I wasn't able to put it together. So, and then you said 2 out of 7 of the folks that came in to do accreditation said that it was
Powerful practice.
powerful. And they saw it in action? Or did they just read about it?
No, they saw it in action. They were there one of the days that it was happening.
To a teacher whose classroom you knew would be doing something meaningful?
They
No?
just picked the classes, and they chose where they went.
Okay.
They gave us a list of classes that they picked at random and said, here's where I want to go, and then it was up to us just to bring them there.
Right.
So they saw it in action on the first day that they were there.
Okay, because when we talk about doing surveys and we're talking about rolling out a new metric right now, 2 out of 7 in that range wouldn't be a ringing endorsement. So I was just wondering
Yeah,
why
let me
that
clarify.
was-
In other words, they noted it in their reports. In other words, there were 7, it was a 7-member team, and 2 of them commended us for doing that. The other 5, might have picked something differently to talk about, blended learning, or they talked about time on task, or whatever, but 2 of them actually honed in on this specifically.
Right. So I think, I'm thinking back to Dr. Griffin's statement that we need to decide whether or not this is worthy of credit. And whether or not our students need time to decompress certainly is a conversation that we can have, but we don't give credit for decompression. And I think that was one of the most alarming things to me, reading through teacher comments that were supportive of it, was there, to me, without, did they know what the purpose of the survey was at all?
I did not lead them one, I didn't say one
It
thing.
was just, here was the question, here you go.
Correct. They got an email.
Because, I feel badly in a way that in reading the results, I think many of them do not know what the purpose is of the period in your mind. Did you get a chance to read through the comments?
I did, yes.
Okay. I don't know. Mr. Gaudreau, I hate to bring someone else on up, but I know you've looked at all of our schools now and the time that you've been able to be in this position as executive director. Do you have any thoughts you can share with us and give us some comparatives maybe?
I do have some thoughts. I think that a period like that can be very useful. I think part of the debate we're having is it worth a half a credit? That's a tough debate to have. I know we have schools in our district that do something similar, not assigning a credit, but they may be rolling out some social emotional learning curriculum, for example. And I could argue the fact that that's a very valuable 30 minutes a week to help students be able to deal with the things that are going on. I personally think the Rams period probably needs a revamp after reading some of the information. I could not say it's not worth doing because I know there are some good things going on. I think, and to defend Mr. Cochran, because I've been in his shoes, you do something and 5 years later, it's working pretty good, but you've moved on to doing other things, blended learning and things like that, and then you have to refocus. And you refocus on something you put in place 5 years ago, and it's probably time for that. I think he would admit that. There are so many things that we're looking at doing right now. We're looking at restorative practices, social emotional learning. There could be a huge benefit in having that time with students to give them things that we are having trouble doing because EOCs are pressuring us in Algebra 1 and Algebra 2. We're not having time to do it in that first period AP World Geo class or whatever it is, but we'd have time during that 30 minutes. I think the debate is it worth giving a half a credit to, is really what we're saying. If I were principal, if I were Mr. Cochrane shoes, and I think he would tell you the same, I would look at that and say, we can make this a useful 30 minutes, without a doubt. There's so many things going on right now, with students. I mean, I could spend the first semester doing social media for 30 minutes every Wednesday and run out of time, for example. So I think it is a useful practice, just a matter of revamping exactly what's going on.
So would it be worth coming back with a plan for what that revamp might look like and then ask for the credit? Or
I think it would. I'm not sure what the timeline is on us getting that approved for credit for school improvement.
Yeah, I can proceed with the other 2 waivers at the next meeting for action. We can hold Lake Mary's until we see a plan that Mr. Gaudreau and Mr. Cocken feel is satisfactory to bring forward.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I think it would absolutely be worth that.
Dr. Calderon.
Well, just as a follow-up, I agree, there's not enough hours in the day for us to do, we even heard from our students here today, the soft skills, the social emotional, social media is changing on a minute-by-minute basis. To take the other side of the coin, even though we try to be focused on the students, I want to help defend the teachers as well. If we make it so structured, is this almost giving another teacher prep time for the teachers? That maybe that might not be their skill set of whatever thing you choose, curriculum. We need to try to protect our teachers too, because they're drinking through fire hoses and have to teach to the standards, and just food for thought and discussion, because
No, I think that's a good point.
not fear. I try to fight for teachers and fight for students, and so it's a juggling act, especially in this kind of situation, because what might be great for students, because we're finding out they're not learning it at home anymore, well, is it something that we had to take responsibility for? And I hate to open up that tiger's den, so to speak, because we saw a lot of bills up in Tallahassee this year that was just piling on more responsibility to school districts, and we are trying to protect our teachers for not having to and do more with only 180 days and the same amount of hours that we've had forever. So in your discussions, Dr. Griffin, with staff, I'd like you to add that before you come back with a final recommendation, that I don't want to overload anybody.
I just think that, we're possibly having the life skills class that's going to be added to the curriculum, according to the Senate and the House. I guess it just passed. With the life skills class and having reflection logs, and being a teacher for 26 years, I know having a lot of extra stress of the curriculum weighted down on us is a lot, but at the same time, thinking about our students and the well-being of them and our teachers, I think that everybody needs that time to reflect and learn from each other, and we can do something very simple in collaborative groups and probably put something very simple together that would not require a lot of the curriculum to be broken into pieces that would make them like, oh my gosh, I have another thing I have to grade, and they're overwhelmed. So that's something we have to look at too, to make sure that they're not overwhelmed, on, like Dr. Calderon said. So,
Mr. Cocken, the 30 minutes, did that come into play when you developed the modified block schedule?
Did, yes, sir.
Is it,
in order to keep things balanced, yes.
That's what I want to say. That was part of the problem. I remember.
Right, because at the time you were my executive director, yes, sir, and it was to keep the equity as far as the bell schedule and for the teachers, so that there would be level periods for each of them in terms of planning period and planning time. Yes, sir, that played a big part in it.
I remember that was.
For this, they had a 75-minute lunch. It's too much. 7.5, yes. It's
That's
too much.
Look.
Whoa.
Mr. Wilson
Yeah, I'm
thinks
sure.
that's a great idea.
It felt like
we're lucky.
And
we
they
get
brought
20
food the
minutes.
whole time, Mr. Wilski.
No, it felt like the
My
Altamont
gosh.
Mall.
You should go back twice for lunch.
Yeah, they got no. It felt like the Altamont Mall on a Friday night. They were just
Yeah.
milling. No,
Yeah,
it was
that-
too loose.
That doesn't sound like it makes for
Good things aren't going to happen.
behavior and good choices.
Mr.
Just
Cocken,
for
Mr.
Mr.
Gattos, I
Wilson.
think there's a lot to think about.
Yes, sir.
You heard, the board at the end of the day has to follow statute
Agreed.
and cannot grant credit where credit is not earned. The information they have now is not credit worthy from the students. I think probably some private discussions, talk to some of your teachers. I think you heard from this board that it may not be the best use of time. If there's another way to do it, if it was part of a scheduling issue, maybe we can look at that. Or if there's a part of it you want to keep in a whole different way. I think the other thing we have to be very sensitive to, and everybody knows Dr. Reynolds is coming into Lake Mary. I have a feeling the students like the Rams period.
They do.
I don't want a new principal to arrive and be the one who killed the program. So I think we have to just put all that into play. But trust the two of you to work together with your faculty members and bring me some ideas, and I'll share them with the board.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Oh, Mrs.
I
Almond.
believe that Winter Springs High was doing something, they didn't necessarily call it like RAM, but they had a 30-minute block or something around lunch a few years back when Dr. Blaze was principal. So his kids could come in that couldn't stay after or come in early for the same reason.
They did. Who was that? Dr. Who?
When Dr. Blazewicz was
I don't recognize that
principal.
name. Kidding. They did have something similar, and it's not uncommon for schools that are on block to have a problem with that Wednesday schedule, because as you know, we have to give teachers the same planning time, so there's always some extra time in there. And I know Mr. Cocken mentioned the 75-minute lunch. Some schools played with that, and anything over 35 just doesn't go well. So it's not uncommon to have something like that where you're trying to figure out what do we do with this extra time. So.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Thank you, board members, for your input on that. The monthly grant report is included in the superintendent report, but also I'm going to ask Mr. Russi to work us through a collective bargaining update.
Good evening, board members and Dr. Griffin, and thank you for the opportunity to update you on collective bargaining. In your addendum packet tonight is the collective bargaining spreadsheet that all of you are aware of, and it includes the articles that were open for this bargaining session with the different bargaining units and our district bargaining team. As of today, bargaining has concluded for all 4 bargaining units. All the collectively bargained language and our MOUs have been tentatively agreed upon by all parties. If it's successfully ratified, we'll have a 2-year agreement on contract language. The only thing we'll be bargaining will be salaries and compensation for a little while. As the board knows, the bargaining process began February 22nd, and the spreadsheet shows the history of each article's progression through the bargaining process. All the items that have tentatively been agreed upon are highlighted in green for you. The association, or the Seminole Uniserve, plans to hold a ratification vote on May 23rd. If that is successful, we'll be bringing that to the board at the June 6th board meeting for your vote. Today, a joint statement was released by the Seminole Education Association, or Seminole Uniserve, and Dr. Griffin, and if it's okay, I'd like to just read that briefly to you to put that in the record. Collective bargaining tentative agreement reached. Dr. Griffin, Superintendent, Kurt Rock, Seminole Uniserve Executive Director. In the spirit of cooperation, the School Board of Seminole County and the Seminole Education Association, Seminole Education Clerical Association, the Seminole County School Bus Drivers Association, and the non-instructional personnel of Seminole County Board of Public Instruction Association are pleased to announce that the parties have tentatively agreed to a 2-year agreement in contract language. In addition, due to a surplus of health self-insurance fund for the 2016 plan year, the following will occur. A one-time $250 payment into the HSA or HRA of all employees participating in our district health insurance program. Plus, all full-time employees are eligible to receive a one-time non-recurring payment of $1,050 to be dispersed on June 15th of 2017. That particular amount will be prorated based on the employee's FTE status. Also, the parties have agreed to discuss salaries and compensation at the conclusion of the current state budgeting process. The school board and the Seminole Education Association, Seminole Education Clerical Association, the Seminole County School Bus Drivers Association, and the non-instructional personnel of Seminole County Board of Public Instruction Association extend their appreciation to those who made contributions to the positive and productive bargaining process and look forward to the continuing partnership as we build upon the excellence of Seminole County Public Schools. So again, at this point, we've concluded, and we look forward to the ratification vote by the association on May 23rd.
That concludes my report.
Board members, committee comments, any updates? Mrs. Almond?
Yes, I see our Business Advisory Board new chair, Seema Data, out in the audience. And at our last meeting, we talked about a deep dive for a rezoning process and communication to see if there's room for any improvement moving forward. And the board members are going to be filling red bags and bring them back for our next meeting. We were each encouraged to take 5 bags. Rock Lake Middle School has a group of young students, and a teacher, Miss Mayherg, calls them the Unity students, and she's trying to teach them leadership, And the Orlando Business Journal invited the entire class to their Women Who Mean Business luncheon. It was a great opportunity for the girls. They were recognized publicly, and they really enjoyed it very much. Both Ms. Sanchez and I went to the Helpful Hands charity presentation where they raised and gave away $84,000 to a lot of the different organizations in the community. Pinecrest Elementary received $2,500 from them. They took all of their students to see Curious George, and then they all received a book to take home afterward. St. Mary Magdalene Council of Catholic Women donated $1,000 to our Families in Need fund, so appreciate that very much. And Sunday I helped gift pianos for the Steinway Society. Helpful Hands again made an $8,500 donation, and one young man who played professionally took home a baby grand. It was very, very impressive. That's my report.
First of all, on April 26th, I had mentioned last time that we were having the Lake Brantley L'Chaim Club led by Dan Smith, and he's right there. So Dan, please stand, because I want to say thank you for doing such an amazing job with the program and having everybody together. We expected only 50 students, and it turned out we had standing room only. So it was about 800 people plus. And it was absolutely amazing. The students did an amazing job talking about backgrounds and hate and anti-Semitism. And Jean Klein, a survivor from the Holocaust, I don't think you could hear a pin drop. I mean, it was that amazing. It was just, everybody was amazed at the powerful speech that he made, and it really made an impact on everybody that was there. And so I really appreciate you putting that together along with your club. You did a phenomenal job. The curriculum was fabulous, and all over the county, everybody's talking about it. We had people from Winter Park all the way to Oviedo. Everybody was there, so it really turned out nicely. You already spoke about the what was the sharing center? I can't remember which one. Helpful Hands. Okay, we went to a couple different things together, but the sharing center breakfast, and that was really, really good. And that, of course, helps with the hunger and homelessness. That breakfast went really well. Crystal Lake had a performance, and we all went to that. That was really neat. That was Chris's last performance before he moves away. And the students were phenomenal. And then I was trying to pull it together, but when we had the Keys to Character video presentations, I'd like to see the keys brought back in. I know with PBS and Positive Behavior System, we're not using them as much, so I'd like to see us bring integrity and honesty and all those keys back in. And like at the beginning of the day, simple, fast, we can bring those in. But the videos were amazing. I think, was it Lyman that won first place? And then this weekend, Sable Point hosted about 25 elementary schools. And Keith won second and third place, and I believe Bentley won first place. And they were amazing. They had a lot of proctors and a lot of help from all the different schools. So Moore Olvey put that together, and that was really an awesome job. And then, let's see what else. The dividend celebration, the Derby theme, and Miss Mills did a phenomenal job with that. And I'll let you continue with everything else, because we all have been kind of going all the same places.
Do you have anything from a committee to report?
Oh, yes. For my committee report, where did I just put that? Actually, we do have something that we're doing, the diabetes prevention, and that is this weekend for the health department. Wait, I just lost where I put it because I wrote it down. You might want to speak until I find it. Oh, here it is. The Florida Department of Health, the National Diabetes Prevention. That is tomorrow from 6 until 8 p.m. So that will be the diabetes prevention, and anybody's welcome to come to that. So that's one of my reports for that. And then let's kick out asthma, and that's going to be May 24th, and that's going to be from 6 to 7:30, and meeting with the Seminole Cultural Arts Committee tomorrow, and we're going to be discussing some different things that we're going to be doing with that. And I have a meeting with Davia for some other foundation things next week. So that's it. Go ahead.
Dr. Calderon. I represent this board on the Central Florida Zoo, and our last meeting was mainly based around the discussion of trying to expand the zoo to be more of a teaching zoo by partnering with the University of Florida Vet. But we know that's long-term. So short-term, we're looking at trying to standardize some MOUs between all the Central Florida school districts. Obviously, Seminole County Schools utilizes the zoo more than other school boards and school districts. I'm sure transportation is an opportunity for many, but we're trying to engage as many students as we can in a positive, impactful way. Look for invitations soon. The Black Bear habitat should be opening up soon, and I think that'll be a great learning environment, not only for our students, but our citizens as well. And I'm working with them to reach out to all the homeowner associations that are in that bear zone of Seminole County to make sure that we engage all the neighborhoods. I know through the years, we've gotten phone calls from residents saying they've driven to work and they feel bad that they see kids waiting on a bus stop and then saw a bear walking across the street without any parental supervision. So whether or not we want to admit it, we are trying to cohabitate in a very safe way, and I think it'll be a great learning environment for all of us. I was pleased to attend the annual Central Florida Hotel Lodging Association meeting where they share their partnerships with the school district. And many of you don't know, but actually the hotel in Central Florida that started that was our very own Lake Mary Marriott, and they were recognized for participating every single year. And what I didn't realize when I talked to Bruce the other day at another meeting, he actually cooks a celebration lunch for every single teacher at Heathrow every year, very formal. So that's very generous of them, and I'm sure we as a school district appreciate that because that is their partner school. Attended the middle school math festival. Next year, I'm going to wear earplugs. If you ever need cheerleaders, just go to the middle school. But it was so exciting, and I hate to be prejudiced, but to see how many females were the top winners in math. And it's exciting for me to see females that are engaged in any field, but specifically in the STEM field. And it was wonderful to see how much they love learning. I also need to compliment many of our schools who are so actively engaged in Relay for Life, and our transportation department too. I had to buy dinner from them to help raise money for the American Cancer Society, but at every single Seminole County site, we had representation from either an elementary, middle, or high school, and then our transportation department as well. So it warms our heart that we're teaching philanthropy at a very young age and giving them a positive way to impact and communicate to the community as a whole. I want to thank our teachers and administrators. God bless you for all the testing that you've been enduring. Not only the regular state testing, but the positive testing of the AP exams. I know we've all proctored, and it truly takes a village, so thank you to all the administrators who have regular jobs to do that have taken time out of their busy schedules to go into the schools to help proctor. It warmed my heart when you can see in one high school alone you have 200 students sitting for an AP Psych test. That tells me that we really are offering accelerated educational opportunities for all of our students without having any prerequisites tied to it. You know me with babies. So had to go to our Healthy Start baby shower, but it was exciting to see how many new moms were there. And of course, our Healthy Start group was there as well, engaging parents and letting them know how early literacy is so very important to their development. And I wanted to compliment you, Mrs. Lockhart, on the National Day of Prayer for leading the ceremony and praying for our children and our teachers, because we know there is always prayer in school, right? That's how we do it. But And of course, thank you, board members, for leaving this one for me, but congratulations to all of our University of Florida new coaching teachers in the district that just graduated from their year of study. And it just warms my heart to see how many teachers want to advance their professional skill set and are so willing to give back and coach other professionals, because it truly is a profession like no other, that it's all collaborative and very, very passionate. So thank you for letting me share.
Stuff going on. Board members, you know I serve as a liaison for you all on the foundation board. We had a retreat last Friday, I believe it was. My days and weeks are kind of running together right now, but really a quality time for the majority of that board to get together. There was a facilitator who came in from out of the organization, and I was able at the end of the meeting to share what our collective consensus was about how we move forward with the foundation. I think there's a lot of work that we have to do still going forward, and I think Dr. Griffin's going to do an excellent job of becoming much more engaged and participating in those foundation meetings and helping out with Davia, with talking to different donors. Great group of community leaders who truly want to do the very best that they can to serve the school district, whether it's by raising funds or by being out in the community and just talking about the good things that we do. We have a tremendous group of people on that foundation board, so thank you very much to them. Also in the foundation realm, we want to thank a business partner, Miller Realty Group, who supported the Dividend of the Year program, which was just fantastic. All of the volunteers and business partners that were there were treated to a great breakfast. Beth Dostal is the Dividend of the Year for the county. Pat Burkett was the Legacy Dividend of the Year, and Jane Lane was the Senior Dividend of the Year. All three of those women, of course, have lots of deep roots and great things that they've done for this district over the years. And the University of Florida Seminole County Extension agents were given the award for the Dividend Business Partner of the Year. Just a great group of folks that work in that organization. Tools for Seminole Schools annual school supply drive kickoff is May 11th at 8:30 at the Foundation's Gift for Teaching store. May 11th. Thursday. Thank you. I was doing math in my head. How many days away is that? The school supply store, of course, is such a huge thing for our teachers to be able to have access to. So the public is welcome to come in, drop off supplies, enjoy breakfast, and learn more about how they can help support that piece of the foundation's work. And the foundation is also inviting business partners to support their annual summer professional development conferences for teachers and administrators. So if there are any folks out there that you know, businesses that would like to participate in that, of course you can get them in touch with me or with Davey at the foundation. A couple of other things that I wanted to mention. Thank you to Castleberry United Methodist Church for sponsoring the National Day of Prayer every year. They are just a great group of people who really love this county and this country. So we thank them for that. I attended the emergency shelter training that was put on for our employees, again, a week or so ago. And Boyd Carnes was there for a little bit of the time, and the employees that were there just were so engaged in asking questions and wanting to make sure that they had all the directions that they needed and the information. They just want to serve our community. Lots of follow-up questions. When do we meet again? They wanted to know when the next training was, and the folks from Seminole County Emergency Management were like, well, actually, this was kind of it, but if you want to come back, we could do it again. So kudos to all of our employees who really are going to be very well equipped the next time we have to open up our schools for shelters. Big thanks to Beth Pocius and Tom Garrett for helping Dr. Griffin and me with a presentation to the Seminole County GOP a couple of weeks ago. Just the time and involvement that they put into that presentation, I think it was very well received. It's a group that we don't often have an opportunity to interact with when it comes to the school district and the good things that we're doing here. And it was fun. We did a poll everywhere. to kind of get an idea of what do people know, what do they think, what are their preconceptions about this district. And so we had a great time talking with those folks. Took an unexpected trip to Tallahassee, as some of you know. Thank you very much, Mrs. Almond, for taking on my discipline hearings Monday morning. It was an experience to be a part of a Hail Mary effort to try and stop some of the things from happening that did eventually wind up happening. But it was good, I believe, for us to be represented and have a physical presence during those hearings. Whether or not the outcome was the way that we wanted, I know that our voices were heard. Major thanks to Senator Simmons. I don't know how many of you had the
Yes.
opportunity to watch last night's hearing. He is an absolute hero for public education in the state of Florida. And if you have an opportunity to see him and say thank you, please do. He stood strong in an environment that would have been very easy for him to have just kind of gone with the flow, and he didn't. So many thanks to David Simmons. Central Florida Public School Board Coalition had the folks from Datanautics, the Fatels, thank them very much for their involvement with our district in presenting our new Seminole County report card to the other coalition board members. They had lots of great questions and seemed very, very enthused. Dr. Griffin and I have talked, though, about the fact that we need a royalty on this. You can have the information, but it's not for free. So, but they just did a great job, represented us very well. I also just want to thank all of you. Without having had a full board these last few months, it's put a lot of extra strain and responsibilities on each of you, and so I appreciate very much you stepping up without even having to be asked. You all have reached out and offered help, so thank you very much. Or anything else? All right, thank you. This meeting is adjourned at 7:30.